This week's message, y'all, started off a little different. So I have a lot of running around to do today, and I wanted to make sure I got this done. And so, I meditated for a bit, and then I pulled a couple cards, and I used the deck that I normally do, which is the Kim Krans Wild Unknown deck, and like 3 cards popped out. I was like, oh, that's a lot of cards. No, it was 4. It's a lot of cards. And I looked at the cards and I said, ooh, it's a lot about intimacy and relationships. And, I started to think about it, but then I had to go. I didn't really have that much time to think about it. And I got to my destination, met some folks, and then was able to kind of sit and collect myself for a bit and return to the message. And this time I brought a different deck. I don't know why. I brought a different deck. And there was one card that popped out, but the same kind of feeling and an insight. Just, pictured in a different way, right? Or illustrated in a different way. And then, I said, okay, let me start to write about this. And I started to write, and then I had to move on to the next task that I had for the day. And then once I got home, I saw another one of my decks. It was the Rider-Waite. I said, oh, classic. I might as well just pick a couple cards from Rider-Waite. And I did. And what came out was the Page of Cups, and underneath the deck was the Empress. And it correlated with the message that I'm about to give you, okay? And I said, let me just see. And I said, let me, is there anything else that the collective needs to go? 2 more cards popped out. Again, basically having the same type of meaning and tone and feeling that the other decks gave me. So everything is saying the same thing. Everything is saying the same thing, right? So what's the need? Where is the need coming from to go to this place, to go to that place, to go to this place, to get the answer? This is about doubt, right? There is a lot of doubt that's been circulating in the collective around what you've been intuiting, what messages you've been getting, because we all have, our special relationship with God, with the Creator, with the universe, with Source. We all do. And we all have a certain language, right, that Spirit uses to communicate with us. And, why deny it? Why not trust yourself in being the receiver, in being the divine, receiver that you are, and being in tune with your body and its signals and all the things that are involved in this process. And it's so interesting because I feel like whenever I give readings, tarot or otherwise, once I decide to get into the energy, I'm in the energy from start to finish, and I start to understand later on how all of it corresponds to the message. As the horn beeps and it's so much noise outside, so much distraction. One of the things that happened with all of this whole process, I was literally guided to just be still. Just like still, right? So when we give ourselves a moment to breathe, to pause, right? In spite of the noise that's happening outside, any noise, whatever that manifests, and as around you, then we allow ourselves to really get clear, and receive and accept that information that is pouring in for us at this time. It's probably the reason why I remember last week there was this message about feeling a little more tired, and perhaps still there may be a little bit still left over in the beginning of this week. And that's just about integration. There's a lot of big energy coming in, and it's helping to bring in balance, right? It's helping us to bring in structure, perhaps where there was none. It's helping us to get very clear and honest, about, what needs, again, this message is coming up, what needs to remain and be nourished, and what perhaps needs to go. It needs to come out of the garden, it needs to be uprooted, right? So, yeah, this is about the balance of the divine, masculine and feminine. I get the sense, and one of the things I think I was kind of like, what? Because I was getting this overwhelming message about this being centered around relationship, right? The relationships with your partner, the deep craving for intimacy, a deeper intimacy with your partner, or perhaps if you're single, this is about, that craving to just partner with someone and really have that experience of relationship and all these things. And sometimes when we get into that mode, of craving, we're placing the emphasis on what it is that we believe we don't have, the lack of intimacy, the lack of love, the lack of partnership. And what's coming through is you don't even see how fruitful, how delicious you are and look, and that I say emotional, there's something here, right, that I get the feeling we'll face, right? There's some deeper emotion. Once again, this is around the lack of, not having a partner, or not being in the type of divine union you imagine. It's time to take real inventory of what all of that is. And for some of you, this balance that's coming in, this union energy that's being just poured into us. It's about, perhaps there's a dream, right? Perhaps there's, a passion project or something like this that you haven't felt like you've been able to really manifest. It's funny, I just heard, hold on, help is on the way. So, that may be relevant for some of you. But yeah, this is, it feels like big union energy, right? The inside shows us the outside shows us the inside. Everything is mirroring everything else. It's a wild ride, this life thing, I tell you. But no worries. Because I get the feeling that when, you acknowledge maybe this feeling of loneliness, of loss, of lack, of whatever it is, however it's manifesting for you. And by face it, I mean, just acknowledging that it exists. And then you don't even have to intellectualize it as much. If you want to, go ahead, journal about it. Get it out, whatever your process looks like, draw it out. Breathe through it. Dance, stretch, shake it out. Whatever it takes. Because once we allow ourselves to at least recognize and then honor these emotions that are surfacing, clearing the way for this deeper union, this deeper intimacy, this good news of emotional fulfillment after these times when you're not feeling like you're moving as fast and things like this. You know, it's like, that's what I get from that. That's what I get from that. You know? When we face it, we alchemize it. We alchemize it into hope and faith, right? We alchemize it as plenty. And by plenty, I mean abundance. You know, you get to see it from a different perspective. And I use this term a lot, talking about perspective a lot, because I'm learning, and let me know how you feel about this, but I'm learning everything is perspective. We talk about reality, what's real, you know, somebody's real, they're grounded or this or that, but what is reality? Your reality is always determined by your perspective and what you allow yourself to believe or disbelieve. That's how powerful we are as creators. Right? I feel like this has a lot to do with creation. You know? Underneath it all of these emotions, all of these things that are coming to the surface, all of this passion, you know, because these emotions, it's, you know, it's the drive, it's the impetus for us to create. Now you fill in the blank. What are you creating? What relationships are you creating? What relationship with yourself are you creating? Because the relationship with someone else, how, you know, healthy we deem it or unhealthy we deem it, is a direct reflection of where we are within ourselves, as hard as that is to face sometimes. And so, that is the message here. Okay. So, I'd love to hear, you know, what your take on this is. I'd love to hear about your experience. You know, what's been surfacing for you. Let me know in the comments. I'm always curious to hear about what's happening in the collective. And, yeah, I just send you all the blessings, all the goodness, all the love. And again, leave you with, you know, we're that powerful. Perhaps this week we really take that moment to pause. And like I said, breathe and move our bodies, paint, sing, draw, write. We become the alchemist. We step into, you know, our role as divine alchemist in our lives. We allow that emotional fulfillment that is here for us. If you know, it's all a matter of perspective. So I leave you with that, and that's it. All right. Blessings.